Streaming, whether hello and welcome to the Opportunity Desk live streaming, whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube. We want to welcome you all, and good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. This is where we bring you experts from different sectors to share their insights, knowledge, and experience. My name is Meti Shwaye Yilma, a media person based in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And it's with pleasure that I am going to introduce what we're going to be talking about today. Stay safe is what we hear a lot, but we stay safe offline. Are we staying safe online? How is our cyber security safety? Due to COVID-19, most of the works around the world are now done remotely, and we're forced to increase our cyber presence. And with this comes the issue of cybersecurity. And for that, I would like to invite our guest today. Let me give you a brief introduction of who our guest is. Her name is Confidence Staveley, and she is a cybersecurity awareness advocate, ethical hacker, information technology expert, global shaper, and entrepreneur. She has over a decade of experience in technology and business development across multiple sectors. The Confidence is the founder of Nogofal Maga and managing partner at Giddy Nerd. Confidence is extremely passionate about helping organizations stay secure while leveraging technology to solve their problems. So today we are going to be talking about maintaining cybersecurity while working remotely, because that is another place where we should stay safe. So without further ado, help me in welcoming the one and only Confidence.
Thank you so much, Mercy. I couldn't at some point believe you were introducing me that way. Well, thank you.
Actually, I could have done a lot because you have done amazing stuff through the years, and I've been researching about you, and wow, quite impressive. So I have a lot of
so much.
I know you have prepared your presentation, and you have a lot to teach us. You're here to give us tips and to answer our questions, and we wouldn't ask for anybody else better. So the floor or the screen, as we say online, is yours now.
Thank you so much, Metsi. And thank you everyone that has joined us at this point, and everyone who is going to join us as we go along. I'm very excited about this topic, maintaining cybersecurity while we work remotely. But I also want to add that it's not just working currently remotely, we are also learning remotely. So imagine the millions of children and millions of adults in tertiary institutions of learning down to school that are currently doing learning online. It's unprecedented. It's never been seen in that measure. So it's very interesting times we're in. In fact, stats say that about 51.4% of us are currently locked down at home and working remotely due to the current challenges and, of course, response to COVID-19. Now, in many cases, companies might have braced up for this before it happened. Some might have had policies where once a day you sort of work from home, and then some haven't had anything like this. This has literally been, if you have a full-time role, you come into the office and then you work. But then, we are in times when companies are now bracing for months of not having staff in the office. Closures are, I also expected in this time for organizations that might not be able to adapt, but those times we're in. And beyond the manifold changes and challenges of remote work, this new normal which we are in now, which is working from home or working remotely as the case may be, definitely does increase cyber risk. Now, generally speaking, wherever there is confusion, wherever there is fear, it creates a perfect backdoor to cyber criminals. And COVID-19 has not been an exception. In fact, COVID-19 has been everything a cyber criminal wants. And I'm going to say that again. COVID-19 has been everything a cyber criminal wants. And within this very, very recently, like Nancy said, I I am the founder of a not-for-profit campaign, No Go for MAGA, and I can tell you that the amount of reports we've gotten of hacked social media accounts, some of these business accounts, that people are actually using as marketplaces, have been hacked recently, and we've had a 400% increase in the number of cases we are handling and helping people recover their accounts. So that's tell you that the numbers are indeed true, that COVID-19 is creating a perfect backdrop for cyber criminals. And this goes from individual attacks to people to businesses, small and medium scale, to even enterprises. It is a huge thing. I don't know if you heard about this. Zoom was recently hacked, and millions of accounts and passwords and email address combinations were sold on the dark web. So guys, this is no joke. This is not talking over your heads. These things are real. But I'm also here on this call not to frighten you, on this webinar, not to frighten you, but to tell you, if you are informed, you can of course brace these times and work secure and safely, and of course be more productive. I don't know about you, but I have been more productive working from home, and I definitely say you can also be more productive, and of course stay safe. Keyword there, staying safe. So you know how with COVID-19 we said hygiene is a major issue, a major thing to help combat the spread of the disease. Also with cybersecurity issues around COVID-19, cyber hygiene has become super important more than ever before. It's become very important to observe cyber hygiene and gain the skills therein. And that's some of the things. These are some of the things we'll be talking about today. Of how this abrupt, unexpected shift to remote work in current global situation has escalated cyber risk dramatically, and how you can protect your workforce, how you can protect your staff, and how you can protect yourself if this is you just coming in as an employee when you work from home. Now, more than 80% of all cyber incidents are caused by human error. We, People say between 60 to 80% of all cyber incidents. So we are going to address the human components of security. So we're going to touch on those, and of course show you how you can play a role in ensuring that your organization and yourself are really safe in this time. Now, enterprises are losing millions of dollars, and losing a whole lot of money, losing data because of cyber incidents. And really, it boils down on people not taking responsibility and owning the shared and the angle of shared responsibility in ensuring cyber safety. So you think about cybersecurity and you say to yourself, oh, that's for the IT department, that's for the cyber guys, that's for the IT department. But I'm also here to remind you that cyber security or cyber safety is a shared responsibility that everyone has a role to play. And until we all play those roles, we will not be able to build formidable enterprise, formidable businesses, and business that are not easily hacked. So everyone, no matter what role you play in an organization, know that you have a place to play, a role to play in ensuring cyber safety. Now, the key things we've seen as prominent risk in these times when we're working from home, one of them is business email compromise. Business email compromise, in very simple terms, is a situation where a cyber criminal you impersonate an organization and causes the organization to make payments. Of course, first from compromising or from hacking a business email, is able to get the companies or the vendors or the individuals involved to make payments to the wrong account, which is cyber criminals accounts. So organizations have lost a whole lot of money. For example, the very, very popular case across the world that affected Nigeria was the case of a CFO his email account was hacked, and it was hacked by a Nigerian, and the company lost millions of dollars because his email account was hacked. The hacker was now able to send invoices to the finance department as though he was a CFO himself. But of course, the finance department will not doubt that this request to pay this invoice or that invoice was not coming from the CFO. There was no way they could have known, because this email was actually sent from the CFO's account, and it was only sent from the CFO's account by the cyber criminal because the cyber criminal succeeded in hacking his business email. So it's very, very, very it's very dangerous thing, and organizations can lose a whole lot of money to cyber criminals in this way. So business email compromise has become a thing that we see very highly in these times. We also have the phishing attacks. Now, phishing is a type of attack where the cyber criminal succeeds in deceiving or manipulating the victim to give up confidential or sensitive information, or to take actions that put the person, the victim, and the organization at risk of a cyber attack. It could be something as simple as clicking a link in an email, a phishing email. It could be downloading an attachment from an email that is from a cyber criminal. It could be filling out a form on a website, of course, or all originated from email. But the key thing about phishing is that it originates from emails. So yes, that's the key thing to note. Phishing has been on the rise. Malware, of course, and ransomware attacks have been on the rise. Malware is anything that's a harmful software that is created to destroy and to cause havoc or to wreak havoc on IT systems. So we've seen an increase in that, and most malware are transmitted again through email. So you see that emails are such a huge point of contact where cyber criminals are exploiting, because we're doing business via email, we're living our lives via email, we're subscribing to services via email. In fact, our digital life is encapsulated in our emails. So it's such a huge thing to protect your email, and I'll be touching on how you can protect yourself. So, but we've seen that there are also increase in ransomware attacks. So what is a ransomware? A ransomware is a type of a malware. That means a type of a malicious software, a type of a harmful software that once it gets into your computer or your computing device, as the case may be, it literally locks all your data, steals all your data, locks it, and doesn't allow you to have access to it. And you have to pay a fee. That's why it's called a ransomware. You have to pay a fee to get your data unencrypted or unlocked for you to have access to it. And sometimes if you do not pay that ransom, your data will be exposed and be sold on the dark web. So really, that's what we're dealing with right now. And just imagine running a business and you don't have access to your data, the everyday day-to-day data, or you hold confidential information of your customers, and then you find out that you don't have access to them anymore, or they are exposed on the web for anyone to just have access to them. That would be such a really damning situation for any business these times, especially. So we've seen a rise in that. We've also seen that most of these attacks are now coming from are starting off with COVID-19 themed phishing emails. So what do I mean by that? It means that the emails that cyber criminals are used to distribute this very harmful software look like they are made around COVID-19. They are made to entice the person through COVID-19. So using things like business advisory in COVID-19 times, but something that has to do with COVID-19 anyway. So it could be things like, oh, monitoring, infection cases around you, and then you download a file that's harmful to your computer. Another key thing we have seen is identity theft. Like I mentioned earlier, online accounts are actively being hijacked. People are losing their source of revenue because cyber criminals are at work. In fact, it works so strongly. We're also seeing inappropriate use of IT resources. We'll touch on this, but when I mean inappropriate use of IT resources, why would you be using your company-owned device, your employer's device, to watch X-rated content? That is not good. So it's basically one of the things we're seeing that's creating a risk factor for organizations across the world. We're also seeing that one of the key risk factors is data breaches and data leakages. What is a breach? A data breach is an unlawful access of data or of information by someone who is not authorized to have access to that information. So once attackers are able to gain access to information, they can do anything with it. They can take it and expose it and brag about it on the internet and share it with everyone. They can sell it for money. They can do whatever. So you want to put your customers in that kind of situation where they're grappling with managing issues around their data being stolen or their data being put in public or not being protected enough. So that's some of the risk we're also seeing. We're also seeing what is called password spraying. So it's a situation where an online you use the same password in many locations. For example, use the same password for your Netflix account, use the same password for your email, use the same password for your Facebook and your Instagram and your LinkedIn and your Twitter, such that if, for example, and use the same password for, say, your Zoom account. So now that Zoom has been hacked and millions of password and username, of password and email address combinations have been sold on the dark web. It means that whoever buys that password combination that has your own details is able to also try automatically to log into your account. And because you have this password everywhere, the attacker will gain access. And they know that you use a lot of you use your password, one password maybe everywhere. So they know that these are things that people do, and then they try and they get away with it. So we're seeing also that kind of increase in password spraying, and it's evident in many ways. For example, my team at work, I have a research team that basically monitors the dark web, and they've reported, for example, an increase in number of Netflix accounts that are available online have been hacked. And why are they able to have that? Is because, of course, cyber criminals have tried password combinations they have obtained from different other data breaches, and they're having access to email accounts, having access to Netflix accounts, and all these other type of platforms. So we're going to now deal with what you can do while you work from home. The first thing I would say, if you don't remember anything on this in this webinar, is that you should think before you click. Before you click, in the sense of analyze what is being said to you. So, like I mentioned earlier, the COVID-19 phishing emails, which is people are trying to impersonate the WHO, impersonate the NCDC, impersonate trusted organizations like your bank, impersonate trusted organizations like Microsoft that provides a service to you, and impersonate trusted platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and all of those to sort of deceive you into taking certain actions that put you at cyber risk, or cyber it puts you in a position that is not safe. So it's important that you think and analyze. So what is being said in this email? Is it true? Is it possible? Is it something that I should give an action to? How about I get another eye to look at it, and have a way to review whatever link. Put your mouse over the link that you're trying to click on before you click on it, to inspect the web address that shows up and to be sure that it's the right web address. Generally, as a rule of thumb, I always say that you should not click links in emails. Rather, manually type out the URL or the web address. That way, it's safer for you. You can be doubly sure that you're not infecting your computer or your computing device with any harmful software. So I really advise that, because cyber criminals are taking advantage of people seeking information on COVID-19, and they're distributing malware, through these kind of campaigns, or this kind of these things they use to deceive people. It's only necessary that I remind you at this point that you should only access any health-related information from reputable sources. Go directly, for example, to in Nigeria, we call our own disease control NCDC. It could be called something else in Ethiopia, where MEDI is. It could be called something else in the United States, which is, of course, the CDC in the United States. So go directly to these websites, manually type out the links, and basically see the content that you're looking for. Now, this is the best time to do something to beef up your password. Your password, when I mean beef up, I mean your password should be strong. Now, how can a password be strong? A password can be strong if it is not less than 8 characters long, and it must contain an uppercase character, it must contain uppercase characters, lowercase characters, numbers, and special symbols. So that is how a password should be. A password should also be unique. The password should also not be shared. So incidentally, yesterday was World Password Day, and there were reminders, but I really like one I shared in my close group, and I said, treat your password like a toothbrush. You should change it frequently. You don't use a toothbrush for years. I don't know anyone who does that. I don't. So you treat your password as a toothbrush. Also treat your password as underpants. You don't walk around showing everyone your underpants. So you shouldn't also share your password. You should also change frequently. You should also treat your password as a key. If, for example, you lived in a house and you find that your neighbor's key can open your own door, how would you feel? You feel definitely very unsafe, and that's exactly what you're doing when you have the same password used across multiple platforms. Because the risk which one platform, when it's compromised or it's hacked, can give the attacker access to another one, increases your losses if that eventually happens. So it's very, very important that you use a unique password per platform. You can have questions about my strategy. I can share my strategy if that question is asked, of how I maintain my passwords and uniquely have strong passwords on every platform. I can share that later if anyone wants that. Now, Another key thing I'm going to touch on is multi-factor authentication. Now, what is multi-factor authentication? Generally, right, you have one way you get into your account, which is by proving that you are who you are. How do you prove that you're who you are? You supply something you know, which is a password. Now, with multi-factor authentication, I'd like you to beef that up. Someone could have access to, which is your password. Someone could crack it. Someone could use tools to crack it, or someone could have it bought from the dark web from another data breach that you had nothing to do with. So this is what I advise, especially in these times. Turn on multi-factor authentication, which is usually either something you are or something you have. So you either combine something you are or something you have with something you know. So that makes it two. So remember, something you are and something you have to combine with something you know becomes two. Now, an example of something you are is your thumbprint. Your if it's an eye scanner, you have your eye scan access, which is very advanced technology. But for your thumbprint, for example, that's something you use on your computer, on your phone. So turn on that particular feature. Now, something you have could be a code that's generated on your phone by an app, or an SMS that sent you get sent a one-time code every time you log into your device, or you log into your email account from a new device, or you log into your Facebook from a new device or something like that. So it's important that you beef up security that way. This is the time to have another level upon the first level of security that you can give yourself. So beef up security by turning on two-factor authentication. And if you work for organizations where you are the person who is the decision maker and you are listening to me right now, I want to say that you should take active steps to have policies in place that enforces strong passwords that automatically logs out users when they're no more in use of their computers or those computing systems, for example, emails. And you should also enforce the issue with two-factor authentication. I see many organizations that still don't have that in place for their emails. This is so pre-COVID-19. During COVID-19 and post-COVID-19, which we walk into our new normal, and we make what we're having now a new normal, we should all make sure that we have two-factor authentication enabled. Now, to avoid data loss, if your phone was stolen or your device was stolen and you work for an organization, please, this is the time to make sure that if you're a policymaker, that you have a remote device wipe policy and tools in place, technology in place to make sure of this. If you're one of those organizations that uses only you allow people to use their personal devices, this is the time to sort of have that understanding with your employees that if your device gets missing, this is what we would have to do with it. We would have to wipe it so that the information contained in those devices doesn't get into the wrong hands. Because while we're working remotely in cities of the world, like in Lagos, where I currently am, although we're working from home, we still have access to move around. And so if, for example, you have your laptop in the car, which you shouldn't have your laptop in the car, like in the display in your car, it should be in the trunk. Anywhere in the world, that is standard security practice. So have your laptop in the trunk. So if for any reason your car is boggled or anything like that, make sure that you're able to have that agreement with your employees and basically have your devices wiped clean, because you don't want that data in the hands of the wrong people. Also, if you're working from home, ensure that you have your internet device. Some people call it router. Welcome, Promise. Welcome, Eunice. Sorry, Ibrahim. So have your computer, have your router change the settings from default settings, like a default password. Have a real password set on those devices, so that if somebody gets to be on that network just to monitor you, they will not have access. Another key thing to play is to remember after this call is that you should keep, as you're working from home, always make sure that you keep everything, every company data on your device and not on a flash drive. This is not the time to use flash drive, because you never know what malware, like I said, malware means harmful software is present on the drive, or on the hard drive, or the removable disk. It's important to just stick with using what's on the computer and do not plug in any removable drive. It's also important that at this time that you sort of only access company resources using the company device where that is provided. Don't say, okay, today I want to work from my own personal device. It's important that you work from your company's device, and that way IT can fully control and help you security support around it. Now, another key thing to do is to use a virtual private network, what is a VPN. Now, we know that a lot of us know VPNs for changing our IP address and hiding it and making internet think that we are in Germany when we are actually in say Ogun State. That's not the only use of a VPN. They can also make sure that you're able to communicate on the internet via a private tunnel, a private transportation of your data and everything as you're communicating. So this is time of organization provided, or your employer or your employer provided virtual private network. That's the VPN software. So it's very important that you do this. Also, it's important that you update your hardware. You update your softwares in this, and please do not have your antivirus outdated. This is not the time for that. And definitely you should have your antivirus on your computers and on your phones, and have all of the other protection that should be installed. If this is not already provided by your employer, please ask, because you need that protection right now. Not having a firewall or an antivirus right now is like traveling to England without a traveling to England during the winter without a winter coat. I don't know how you're going to survive it. Honestly, you get cold and you have frostbite, and God forbid, the unthinkable might happen. So it's important that you do not go into the web right now without this protection put in place. And another key thing to note is that if you're working with an employer who hasn't actually done cybersecurity awareness training for you and your other colleagues, this is the time to ask for it. Ask for employer, let's have a cybersecurity awareness training, because what you don't know can hurt you in security. It's not what you don't know will not hurt you in security. What you don't know will hurt you. So this is the time for everyone to have maximum of cybersecurity awareness and training, what you should do during this time. So yes, cybersecurity awareness training is very, very key. Now, do not click on links or download attachments in unsolicited emails. Whether or not it looks like it's such a great idea to do so, please refrain from it. Even from people you know, apply caution. Like I said, think before you click. Apply caution. If you're not expecting, even if the person is someone you know and you have as a colleague, if you're not expecting a particular email or an attachment, please be mindful when you interact with that email, because it's possible that that person's account, person's profile has been compromised, has been hacked, and of course the attacker is now using that particular account to have more to increase its reach within your organization, and you'll be helping that attacker by continuing to, of course, click those links or download those attachments that might have harmful softwares or have harmful purpose for creation of those. It's also important that you do not visit unapproved websites. Even the office, you cannot go on there, an X-rated website or on a betting website. Why should you do that at home? This is also another challenge working from home. Unlike the office infrastructure, where maybe on the network layer, on the network platform is being already set, and you cannot visit X, Y, and Z websites. Because you're browsing from home, you don't have those restrictions, and you say, let's let loose, let's have a party in here, and you go on those websites you're not supposed to go on by company policy. Putting yourself, the device, and your organization at being hacked. But all cyber criminals need sometimes is just a foothold, just that place, just that one person to mess up, and of course they will have that access and do the unthinkable. So also don't substitute. Oh, I want to use this of this software and other software. It's important that you use company approved tools for your work. That way you will be safe. So think before you click. Your password must be strong. Have a high level of have a beefed up security in terms of login and access company resources, and also for yourself, turn on multi-factor authentication everywhere possible. Your Facebook, it's also a feature that you have there. Your Instagram is a feature. They're hacking so many Instagram accounts currently. Your Twitter, your LinkedIn, all of those platforms you use, your email, please turn on multi-factor authentication, and you will be safer off for it. I think of finally, I would just want to remind you again that you should think before you click. Thank you so much. I think if you have any questions.
Okay. Oh, wow. Thank you, Comfort. Thank
I
you
hope I
so
wasn't too
much.
fast.
Whew, that is so much information, so many
I
things.
know, right?
But I took really key points here. The first thing is we have to be aware whether we're individuals or institutions. We have to be extremely careful about our cyber security and cyber hygiene, cyber safety. So when we say stay safe, it also applies stay safe online. So our virtual presence is as much important. I got that right.
Exactly.
Because as you said, you 400% rise in cyber hacks. That's insane.
Yes. It's crazy.
It is crazy. And the terms, I love the terms you use. Treat your password as if it's your toothbrush. That means change it every 3 months. Treat your password as if it's your underpants. You don't want you don't want everybody to see it, so you don't just pull up your skirt and show it around. And also treat your passport as if you treat your keys. You have unique keys for each door in your office, in your home, in your car. So have passwords. So these are the nuggets that I took. So before I get questions from our audience, I have for institutions, because depending on their size, their work, it depends. But what is the best strategy? Is it to have a cybersecurity team in-house, or is it better to outsource it like yours? What stage should institutions have to be to implement each of this?
I think it's basically what works for you. Ultimately, every business wants to have an in-house team, but that overhead is huge. And sometimes even finding the resources in terms of cyber talent is another headache, and retaining them is another one. People managing talent in cyberspace is quite tough. So I would say for start, organizations to start by hiring the services of a cybersecurity firm on a retainer, because of course that means that you have access to a pool of cyber talent at way less than you would have cost you if you were to have those guys inside, because then that's additional cost to retain that person. Benefits have to be paid in some crimes where benefits include health insurance. You have to provide that health insurance and all of the other insurances, a pension, and doing all of that, plus the fact that cyber talent generally earn higher than the average person. So it's important that you actually start with baby steps of hiring and putting on a retainer and getting the services of a cybersecurity consulting firm, and then gradually, step it up from there, especially for small or medium scale businesses.
Okay. That's a good tip. I haven't received another question, so I get to ask another one then.
I can see one here though. I can see a couple of them here.
Oh, really? I haven't seen any on my. Okay, good. How can one secure a website of an organization? Great question, Ade.
So I'm going to be talking about this very, very soon, because I'm currently teaching people how to build secure websites. Even if you're not a techie, so I'm going to touch on that very soon. But just to answer your question very directly, one of the key things you must do if you want to have a secure website is to install what is called I don't want to call it technical term, but to install a firewall. I don't want to call it the other very technical term. Basically, is to make sure that there is a protection that filters in traffic to your website. because attackers use different ways to access websites and have access to the back end and the administration end without your permission. So there are a lot of techniques around it, but the key thing is that you should have a firewall installed on the back end of your website, whatever it runs on. Is a lot easier with content management system websites built on content management systems like WordPress, because they are already made tools. But if that's not the case, you can ask your hosting provider to tell you, how you can deploy a firewall for your website. But it's very important now to do that.
Okay. Great one. Any other question? Let me see. All right. How do we know if our cybersecurity is breached? Oh, very important question.
Okay, there are a number of ways that can happen. Generally, if someone else has access to your account, the logs are impacted. So, for example, if somebody has hacked your Instagram account, you would see that you're logged in on 2 devices when you know that it's just one device you have to have access to Instagram. So it's very key to keep an eye on your logs. On most of these platforms, keeping an eye on your logs means going to your settings and going to privacy, or going to your settings and going to security, as a case may be. So keep an eye on your logs. It's going to tell you if someone else has access to your account. Another key thing is hackers are boastful. So once they hack your account, they want to show off. So they immediately they try to get you off the account and have a hold on the account in such a way that you can't have a hold anymore. So they will try to knock you off. So they change your details. Once those changes start coming in, you'll get emails most likely. Now, this is another key thing I'm showing why you should not have the same password for your email account you have for anywhere else. I've seen instances where people's Instagram accounts were hacked, but their email accounts were also hacked simultaneously. So there is no way of coming back into your account to help you recover your account. So that's one of many scenarios why that is a no-no for me, from experience and of course from an expertise point of view. So generally, hackers will try to throw the details from your accounts and make sure that you no longer have control. Another key way, again, to show off here is they try to post things on your platforms that try to get other people interested, and so they can also defraud other people that follow you on your sphere of influence, and then also hack them. So you see that when you are attacked as an individual or as a business, other people are affected by you. So you don't just take the loss yourself, you also put other people in harm's way. And that's one of the key reasons why I'm such a big advocate of security awareness, because when people are impacted, organizations are impacted, it's not just one person that loses. A lot of us have pride. When you're cutting onions around you, and somebody's standing close to you, the other person also, who is not even chopping the onions, also gets to have teary eyes. That is exactly how cybersecurity is. So it's important that we bear that in mind and be very intentional about cybersecurity. So you also take note of the fact that the person who has had access to your account or to whatever they've hacked will try to get to have access to other people and attack other people. Another key thing is the person, if it's a bank account, for example, the person will want to make away with money. If it's an organization, we'll try to make away with data. So that's another key thing you're going to use to know that, oh, I've been hacked. Another key thing with websites, for example, if you've been hacked, your website has been hacked, most hackers will either be quiet about it and literally just use your website as a way of attacking other people. Every visitor on your website get to download harmful software to their computing device, and that's so horrible. I don't want to think about it, but that is the possibility. Or some hackers are just for show off, and they just want to say, oh, I've defaced this website, and they put something insultive, they put something negative and attach it to your brand. You don't want that. You don't want people to visit your website and then see something very horrible, maybe see some X-rated content, or see something very with maybe say racial slurs or things like that. It's something that you don't want to be definitely associated with. So that's one of the key ways to know.
Okay. We got another question. Any application or software recommendation to prevent or alter us from hacking?
Okay, so I'm not so sure that I understand that. Are you meaning apps or software, what particular thing are you trying to safeguard? Because that's another thing entirely. You need to know what exactly different protections for different systems, for different types of devices or things like that. So for example, we're talking about websites, and we're talking about applications to test your website. One, I highly recommend WordFence and Query. So that's on one side. So if you're protecting your website, that's one that I would recommend. If you are protecting your device, I definitely be recommending an antivirus for that. So, but let us remember that technology can only go that far. There's still a very strong human component, and I want you to think about it. Imagine this. That will help you understand what I mean by the human component. Now, it's become a whole lot more harder to have computers than it is to have human beings. So, and I want you to think about that in the context of the story I'm going to tell right now. I don't know how many of us are Christians on this particular webinar, but the story in the Bible that talks about just David and Goliath. Now, David was very little, while Goliath was really huge. He had an armory from head to toe, but he had a small hole in the middle of his head, at his forehead, and that was all David did. All David did was he aimed his sling and making sure that the stone there hits the middle of his head, just at that hole. Think about it, that the software can be all updated on your computer. Everything can all be all right for employer's angle. Because of the human component, something you do, you become that hole that is now leveraged. Because how does hacking happen? Hacking happens when a cyber criminal leverages a loophole. We call it in technical terms a vulnerability. It's literally a loophole, like I said, that hole. So if you have the best of technology, you have the best of processes, but your people do not know the right thing to do, your people become that hole. Instead of being a full armor from head to toe, they become that loophole that attackers can leverage. So I would say that there is nothing as there's no such thing as 100% security, but there is such a thing as becoming very hard to hack, and I think that's the level everyone should aim for. Because generally, except you're really a person of a very high figure person, the effort that's put into trying to hack you might just be a general attack. So it's important that you make it so hard for you to be hacked, that you discourage whoever is trying to attack you. And that is the goal. It's not to be unhackable, but it's to be so difficult to hack that people just give up on you. That is exactly what I want us all to come off this webinar remembering.
Okay. Great tip. Yes. So we talked a lot about hackers. Okay, could you elaborate on VPN as a question that came from Trevor Farron? Could you, because you touched on VPN. Okay.
So many of us, I don't know how many of us have watched Heist. Is it the Money Heist or something like that? Good.
Money Heist.
So you know that, between the bank and the professor. Sorry, I like to use stories so people can relate to what I'm saying, because I find that a lot of text stuff can be so over the years. So that's how I make it relatable. So now, what between the bank, not the Bank of Spain. What bank was that? I don't know. The first bank that was robbed, between the bank and the professor's hangout, they had to build a tunnel where they could pass through, and then no one is going to know that they were leaving the bank. They were not going to leave the bank through the front door. So now that's exactly what happens. If you have a communication that's a tunnel, it helps guard the information that you're sending across, because when you use the internet, whether or not you're physically sending files, that communication that you have established to go to a website or to fill out a form on a website or to send an email is a communication that you're sending information across on the internet. So using a VPN will ensure that you are doing it in a secure tunnel, in a private environment where you will not be seen or heard. So imagine going to your neighbor's house but not using the common area, which is like a door to go through. You have maybe a room that's connected to your neighbor in such a way that you can go and visit your neighbor without anyone else knowing that you've gone to visit them. So it's that kind of really secure environment, and that's what I think employees should be using right now. So just in case someone around you was trying to listen on your online conversation, by using certain tools that are to hackers, actually you're secure, because the information you're transmitting is locked don't want to use the word encrypted, but it's locked and it's going through a funnel, a funnel that is private, or a funnel that is private.
Okay. Okay. Good. Should companies tell the public when they're hacked? That's Josephine.
This is by law in many places, in many parts of the world. It's by law. You have to do that because you have put them in harm's way. To be very honest, that's just it. You put them in harm's way. Generally speaking, to when these hacks happen, data is exposed, and the more data cyber criminals have, the more they're able to tailor attacks to that person, the more they're able to have access to that person. Because imagine, for example, in Nigeria, when somebody calls you, the person can tell you your bank account number. The person has automatically established a level of trust with you. And that is what cyber criminals start off their attacks with. So imagine providing that data because you were hacked, providing that data or putting that data in the wrong hands because you were hacked, and you do not tell the owner of that data. It is wrong by every standard. You should give this information to your customers. Tell them honestly the level at which this has happened. For example, when Canva was hacked, they told their customers what had happened. That although we've put your passwords in such a way that it will be difficult to be cracked or hacked by these people, but they have actually obtained the database. Whether or not they're successful at making that database readable, and we don't know, but this is what has happened. So take XYZ steps to protect yourself. And that's what I think all responsible companies should do. Take ownership for what has happened and help their customers go through that phase, because it might be years before they can get around it. In cases like identity theft, for example, in very advanced countries, the person could keep losing money. The credit ratings, for example, could plunge because of a cyber attack on someone else that's a service provider to this person.
Okay. But how do we keep this people or the cyber criminals who breached our cyber security? How do we keep them accountable? Is there any forensic cyber forensic, or is there any law that can keep them accountable, that can get them punished?
Yes, there are in almost about every part of the world. There are laws in Nigeria, there are laws in South Africa, there are definitely laws in America that actually say, that actually stipulate, the offense as cybercrime when someone has unlawful access into data systems or information systems. So it's there. Also, there's an arm of cybersecurity that is called forensics, like you have said. What the forensics team will come in and do is, okay, let's investigate what happened. How did you go wrong? Was there something you should have done or you did not do? For example, Walmart was hacked a while ago, and although Walmart did everything correctly, of course, by the forensics team, it was found that it was a vendor providing a service to Walmart that was actually hacked, and from there they got access into Walmart systems and got away with a lot of cardholder data. So now Walmart didn't do anything wrong, but it was only that forensics team that could say Walmart didn't do anything wrong. You get what I mean? So forensics can come in, but forensics is also very expensive, and some people might not go that route. They might just stay in their sore wounds and say, you know what, okay, let's find a way to get things together. Is there a backup of our data? Let's get back together. Let's have a backup, and then let's have our data back. And this is another key thing I forgot to mention. Have backups of backups and consistently backup, because anything can happen. And in the case of the ransom example, we know what happened to travel stats this year, and how they have not been able to recover. And I dare say they might not be able to recover even after COVID-19, because COVID-19 literally really hit the travel industry or the tourism industry. So think about it that way, that this could be an issue that might actually kill your business. Yeah, can potentially kill your business. So
Okay. Great. Any other question? Let's see. This is going really well. And I see that so many people have concerns about cybersecurity. And thank you once again, Confidence, that you're really giving us very important information. You're enlightening us, and we're using this tips and information to protect ourselves virtually as individuals and also as institutions. And also what I like is cybersecurity or virtual safety is like offline safety. You know, when you keep yourself safe, it's not only for yourself but for your loved ones.
Mhm.
When we tell people you have to wear
Exactly.
masks, it's not only for us but for the people that we love, for the people that are around us, and we can take that into
Mhm.
security. It's not only, we're not only
Mhm.
accountable to our own safety, but our safety
Mhm.
also matters because there are
Mhm.
organizations that work with us. There are people that are connected with us, and they have to. We have to protect them because I remember when
Mhm.
people's Facebook accounts were hacked, we used to get friend requests, and I'm like, but I'm already a friend with this person, and then those people leave
Exactly.
me, or they send me an email telling me my Facebook is hacked, so whatever comes from my account, it's not me, so be careful, you know. So I understand that our safety is not only for ourselves but also for the people and organizations that are connected with us. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. So
Okay.
important. It's so important.
Yes, yes. Let's see if we have other questions. Do you see any question from your side, Comfort?
Yeah. So there's one from the Sharona.
Okay.
Mhm. Can you see that too?
Yes.
Okay.
What
What
is
is your
your
view on?
centralization of data from major companies like Facebook or Apple? If they get hacked or if they choose to block you from their service, there is almost nothing that you can do.
I don't know. I've not seen this particular situation where these service providers block off individuals from using their service.
Mm,
So but about centralization of data, they generally, I don't know of any of them that does not have multiple data centers. So they have backups of backups of backups of backups, and that's why when something happens with them, they can easily bounce back. So it's now the responsibility of theirs to make sure that if anything goes wrong with your account, or the sort of your account is breached because breached from their end, let me put it that way, they are responsible to tell you that this has happened. For example, last year Twitter was breached.
uh-huh.
um, they were not sure about how many accounts were compromised. They were not sure if the accounts were compromised either. So what they did was they informed all their users to change their passwords and told their users about what had happened and what their team was doing in response. That's another key thing too. If you tell me my account has been hacked because of something you haven't been doing, or because it was just done from your end, whether or not you were responsible for what happened, it's important that you tell me also and communicate what you are doing to make it better or make it right by me. So I think that's why it's very key that companies that are involved in the data breach take responsibility and communicate it, because again, it's also a PR thing. It's very great that you manage the narrative. No, you know this. It's important that people own the narrative, especially when something bad happens. So that's why it's very important that companies actually notify their customers when there's a breach.
Mm, mm. Okay, okay. Right. So, any other question? Let's see, because I don't want to bombard you with all my questions. I want to. Yes. All right. So, our audience, if you have any questions, you can send us hashtag OD,
Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
on Twitter and on Facebook. You can find us at Opportunity Desk, and you can
Mm-hmm.
also follow Comfort at Cisnerd Twits, and you're
Tweets,
also
yeah,
on the banner here on the screen. So if
yeah,
you have any questions, you can still send us, and we
yeah.
really appreciate all of you for your time and Comfort. Oh my God, this is an amazing session because for most of us, particularly who are engaged on social media, we have a virtual presence, but we do not know much about
Mm-hmm.
cybersecurity. This is a
Mm-hmm.
great starter for us to know about it, to learn about it, and to protect ourselves
Mm-hmm.
also to be very vigilant about it. Now I see your passion for creating cybersecurity awareness, and it's for a reason. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. And I'm just going from here to yet another webinar. I'm organizing. I'm hosting a webinar in just about 5 minutes. That webinar is on. It's just email security we are discussing. So definitely, if you're not already bored of listening to my voice, you can join us over there. Just visit nogoformaga.org and you see the details of getting into that particular webinar, just discussing email security in COVID-19 times. Another key subject to discuss. So yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Confidence. Thank you so much for your time, for your passion, for your cause. We really appreciate it. And everyone, thank you for sticking with us for an hour. I know it was not easy, but she made it really brilliant, right? She made it very engaging, and that shows that passion, how much fire you have, Confidence. And oh, trust me, once I logged out of this, I will join you on the webinar because I'm learning a lot and I want to keep it that way. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us for Opportunity Desk Live. And this live streaming is on YouTube and Facebook. You'll also find the video recording later on, and share it with everyone that you know, because it's extremely important that we keep our virtual presence safe, and our cybersecurity is not only for ourselves but for everyone who's connected with us. And my name is Meti Shwaye Yilma. I am honored to be facilitating and moderating this discussion, and Opportunity Desk live streaming will be coming back to you next week with another topic, with another expert, because all we want to do here is to equip you with insights, information, experience, and knowledge and skills, so that we can go forward together as individuals and as a community. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you, Confidence, once again, and take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone. And thank you for joining us.